Live from New York, you're watching News Always On. I'm Kessyl. In one of his most high-profile appearances since leaving the White House, former President Barack Obama celebrates the legacy of Nelson Mandela in South Africa. Mandela served as President of South Africa from 1994 to 1999 and was the first black South African to hold office. He fought apartheid from his early 20s by working to change institutionalized racism and inequality within social classes. His campaign for peaceful, non-violent defiance against the South African government and their policies paved the way for change. In a speech marking the 100th birthday leader, Obama sets to urge youth around the world to work for human rights and fair societies, at the same time highlighting the late South African leader's example of persevering in the struggle for democracy and equal rights for all. Tuesday's speech is not overtly political, but Mandela was the inspiration for Obama's first foray into politics. When Mandela died in 2013, Obama said, quote, "The day he was released from prison gave me a sense of what human beings can do when they are guided by their hopes and not by their fears. Like so many around the globe, I cannot fully imagine my own life without the example that Nelson Mandela set. And so long as I live, I will do what I can to learn from him." One thing the two leaders have in common is that both men were the first black presidents of their countries. When Obama traveled as president, he often made it a point to meet with young people who might form the next generation of leaders. And this week, he will do so again in South Africa by hosting a town hall in Johannesburg tomorrow for 200 rising African leaders. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer called on his Republican colleagues to act now in a bipartisan way and stand up to President Donald Trump following his European trip where he strengthened America's adversaries. Yesterday, Trump met with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Helsinki, where he refused to condemn the interference in the 2016 US election. Here is more.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Sorry I'm a bit late. In the entire history of our country, Americans have never seen a president of the United States support an adversary the way President Trump has supported President Putin. For the President of the United States to side with President Putin against American law enforcement, American defense officials, American intelligence agencies is thoughtless, it's dangerous, it's weak. The President is putting himself over our country. Look, I'll let people use descriptions they see fit. A single ominous question now hangs over the White House. What could possibly cause President Trump to put the interests of Russia over those of the United States? Millions of Americans will continue to wonder if the only possible explanation for this dangerous behavior is the possibility that President Putin holds damaging information over President Trump, other than it's self-serving of the President. That's it. At every step along the way, the President is kneecapping our allies and offering a helping hand to our adversaries. When it comes to the interference in our 2016 elections, the President has managed to point his finger at just about everybody except the culprit. It's inexplicable. Or maybe it's not. Now is the time for our Republican colleagues to join us, bipartisan, and stand up. If we wait much longer, our global alliances will fracture. The institutions that America created in the wake of World War II will crumble. Our allies will consider abandoning us, possibly for China and others, and Putin's Russia will emerge stronger for it. That's what he wants, and that's what President Trump inexplicably is helping him do. A few of our Republican colleagues have spoken out and talked the talk, but it's time for the Republican Party to walk the walk, given the direness of this situation. The President is doing grave harm to the standing of these United States while kowtowing to the #1 enemy we probably have on the globe, Vladimir Putin. He'll continue to do so if he isn't checked, and the best people to check him are not Democrats, but his fellow Republicans.
Take the gavel and go.
We don't have the power to take the gavel. We don't have the gavel. What the best thing we can do is first speak truth to power. Silence here is not acceptable. And the second thing we can do is try in every way we can to get the Congress to act, which requires our Republican colleagues to act with us.
Trump's favoring of Putin's denial of election interference accusations by the U.S. intelligence community may be the moment when that finally validated the claims that Trump prizes his own interests above those of America. A British cave diver who helped rescue 12 Thai boys from deep within a cave has said that he is considering suing tech entrepreneur Elon Musk over his tweet calling the diver a, quote, pedo guy. The tweet later deleted. As we can see in the picture, Mr. Musk tweeted, quote, "We will make one of the mini submarine going all the way to Cave 5. No problem. Sorry, pedo guy. You really did ask for it." The tweet was posted after the cave expert ridiculed a mini submarine built by Mr. Musk for the rescue effort as a PR stunt. Mr. Unsworth told reporters on Monday that he was considering legal action. Here is more.
It was a rescue mission on huge proportions. I can't put words, to what I feel about the guy, but it's not finished. I haven't seen the Twitter response yet, but people have told me what's been going out there, and people around the world need to know what this guy is really like.
Thailand-based Mr. Unsworth's knowledge of the cave complex is said to have to play a key role in the rescue effort. He traveled into the caves in the first days after the boys went missing and helped bring in top national cave rescue experts for the mission. He had earlier said that the mini-sub built by Mr. Musk's team and flown to Thailand before being rejected as inappropriate for the rescue mission by Thai officials would have absolutely no chance of working. Elon Musk, who regularly takes on journalists and other critics on Twitter, he tweeted on Sunday in a response to him without using his name, but calling him a British expat guy who lives in Thailand. Mr. Unsworth told a news agency that he would make a decision on whether he would take legal action against Mr. Musk after flying back to UK this week. Unsworth said, quote, "He's just a PR stunt merchant. That's all he is." All 12 boys and their young coach rescued last week from the cave system after a complex and dangerous rescue operation involving hundreds of volunteers. They were trapped in the cave by rising floodwaters on June 23rd and were first found by rescuers on July the 2nd. The 13th rescue remain in hospital in the city of Chiang Rai, but is expected to be discharged on Thursday. On the 4th anniversary of the downing of Malaysia Airlines flight MH17, Russia is facing a demand from the foreign ministers of the G7 countries to explain and address all relevant questions regarding any potential breaches of international law. Here is more. The Boeing 777 was flying from Amsterdam to Kuala Lumpur on July 17, 2014, when it was downed by a bug surface-to-air missile fired from eastern Ukraine, killing all 298 passengers and crew on board. The aircraft was at 33,000 feet, above an exclusion zone established at 32,000 feet because of the conflict between the Ukrainian government and Russian-backed rebels. However, bug missiles can reach a height of 80,000 feet. The final report by the Dutch Safety Board released in October of 2015 concluded that the two pilots and the purser who was sitting in the cockpit died instantly when the warhead exploded. But the report could not rule out the possibility that some occupants of the aircraft were conscious for some or all of the time it took to hit the ground, which is up to 90 seconds after the missile exploded. The report discounted any other costs, but as with the other Malaysian airlines MH370 lost in 2014, many alternative theories have been advanced. One account is that the passenger aircraft was shot down by one or more Ukrainian fighter jets, with an eyewitness saying that she saw two aircrafts flying in different directions. The Dutch Safety Board concluded that the front part of the plane was blown away from the rest of the jet by the force of the blast. It says no other aircraft were shown on radar schemes. A meteor has also been offered as alternative explanation, but the final report said no ultrasonic sound waves which accompany the descent of a meteor had been recorded. It also notes that the chances of a meteor striking an aircraft have been calculated to be at most one case in 59,000 years. Nor could a falling satellite have caused the crash. In the wake of the crash, no space debris was recorded as re-entering the Earth's atmosphere. An onboard fire has also been suggested because of the evidence of fire damage to wreckage and burns on the bodies of some of the victims. But investigators concluded that there was no in-flight fire before the in-flight breakup. Fires only erupted at two wreckage sites after the crash. In-flight mechanical failure has also been suggested, but again, the final report concludes that there were no known technical malfunctions that could affect the safety of the flight. The Dutch Safety Board excludes the possibility of any other cause, saying, quote, "No other scenario can explain this combination of factors." The G7 foreign ministers say they fully support the work of the Joint Investigation Team, which is an independent criminal investigation led by the Netherlands, Australia, Belgium, Malaysia, and Ukraine. They said, quote, "The JIT's findings on Russia's role in the downing of MH17 are compelling, significant, and deeply disturbing. We are united in our support of Australia and the Netherlands as they call on Russia to account for its role in this incident and to cooperate fully with the process to establish the truth and achieve justice for the victims of MH17 and their next of kin. Russia has so far denied all responsibilities." That is all the time we have for now. For News Always On, I'm Kessyl, and I will see you at 4 in the afternoon.